So let's talk about Finland's basic income trial. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. Recently, I read an article about a basic income trial, or the outcome of 2 years of this trial in Finland. Now, I was quite interested in this idea, frankly, because just simplifying our welfare system, which here in Australia is 35% of the government's expenses, seems fantastic. Seems like a smart idea. Imagine getting rid of Centrelink and all those departments and just replacing it with a database of bank account numbers for people that shoots out a payment. You know, putting everything else aside, just think how much money we could save and how much more efficient it could be and less hoops to jump through. So I thought I'd have a bit of a read of this. So we're here, in Finland, in the Scandinavian utopia of socialism, which has no social issues at all. Sweden isn't being invaded by lots of foreigners that aren't assimilating, and cultural issues. No, it's utopia there. It's utopia there, guys. Utopia. So let's have a look. And this is an article from the BBC. So Finland's basic income trial left people happier but jobless. Now, if you're not familiar with the concept of basic income, the idea is that rather than having a unemployment payment where you have to do all these requirements, you just get a basic payment. And this basic income payment doesn't disappear if you start getting a job or if you do partial work. So the theory is that it removes the challenges associated with getting in the poverty trap, where sometimes if you're on income support, it's not worth working. Who would work 30 to 40 hours a week just to earn an extra $100 or $200 when you can get $100 less not working? People aren't stupid, and that can end up in a poverty trap, particularly for low-skilled entry-level positions. So the idea is you get this basic income, no matter what, no matter how much you earn, you still get it. It's more of an incentive for people to find work. I like the idea of it being an efficient way to distribute money that the government's already going to give. And I just see the savings that can happen there. I think if that happens to everyone, it'll just inflate away to nothing. But anyway, let's read the article. Giving jobless people in Finland a basic income for 2 years did not lead them to find work, researchers have said. From January 2017 until December 2018, 2,000 unemployed Finns got a monthly flat payment of €560. Not bad. That can definitely help. The aim was to see if a guaranteed safety net would help people find jobs and support them if they had to take insecure gig economy work. Yeah, it's the whole gig economy and the whole, contracting out economy. People can really get some shit jobs with terrible hours, but it can provide you with a lot of freedom, particularly with Ubering. I did it for a while. It was quite enjoyable. While employment levels did not improve, participants said they felt happier and less stressed. Okay, so it didn't help them improve their employment, but they were happier and less stressed. So that's good, I guess. Sad that it didn't improve employment levels. When it launched the pilot scheme back in 2017, Finland became the first European country to test out the idea of an unconditional basic income. It was run by the Social Insurance Institute, Kale, a Finnish government agency, and involved 2,000 randomly selected people on unemployment benefits. It immediately attracted international interest. But these results have now raised questions about the effectiveness of such schemes. What is basic income and how does it work? Universal basic income. Now, anyone who's watched anything on the internet surely would have heard Joe Rogan talk about it, and lots of other people talk about it. Musk, particularly with the robot revolution that everyone's worried about, or UBI, means that everyone gets a set monthly income regardless of means. Sounds a bit communisty, doesn't it? The Finnish trial was a bit different as it focused on people who were unemployed. Another popular variation is universal basic services, where instead of getting an income, things like education, healthcare, and transport are free for all. Sounds very communisty or socialisty. Although it's enjoying a resurgence in popularity, the idea isn't new. In fact, it was first described in Sir Thomas More's Utopia, published in 1516, a full 503 years ago. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you've read Sir Thomas More's Utopia. I might do a live episode just reading portions of it, because it is really a fantastic book. I really enjoyed it. And it's an interesting take on a utopian society, how authoritarian it is, how limited and restricted your freedoms are. So yeah, let me know if you've read it, guys. If not, print yourself a copy, because it's out of copyright. Such schemes have been trialled all over the world. Adults in a village in western Kenya were given $22 a month for 12 years until 2028, while the Italian government is working on introducing a citizen's income. The city of Utrecht in the Netherlands is also carrying out a basic income study called Wenten wat werken, Know What Works, until October. What do you guys think? Do you reckon this will work? Do you think it will work, or it'll just, make people happier? Or will it allow, employers to get away with just giving them part-time work or casual work, or not having to take the burden on of staff? I know I've gotten to the point now where it's frustrating, the regulations that you have to have when you want to give someone a shot at a job. Sometimes you feel trapped when you employ them, because if they're crap, it's a pain to get rid of them. So what is the point? Supporters of basic income often believe an unconditional safety net can help people out of poverty by giving them the time to apply for jobs or learn essential new skills. This is seen as increasingly important in the age of automation. That is put very simply as robots take people's jobs. I wonder. I don't know if it will. Miska, I'm going to butcher that. Samananian, I'm not even going to try. Miska S, one of the Keller researchers behind the Finnish study, tells BBC News that this was what their government wanted to test in order to see if it would be a way of reforming the social security system. I was hoping they would have, what about the cost savings from not having to turn up and do all the paperwork and rubbish? But guarantee that they didn't worry about that. God forbid they'd fire a few civil servants. So did it work? It depends on what you mean by work. Did it help unemployed people in Finland find jobs, as the centre-right Finnish government had hoped? No, not really. Well, there you go. It didn't help people find jobs. Or maybe they just didn't report it. Mr. S said that while some individuals found work, they were no more likely to do so than a control group of people that weren't given the money. They are still trying to work out exactly why this is, but the final report will be published in 2020. That's taken a long time to write that report. Maybe because there was no incentive for them to find work as opposed to other people on it. If anything, there was less of an incentive for them to find work because they had this guaranteed money. It would make sense. You wouldn't have to worry about it. You were less stressed. Wasn't that one of the things that was mentioned up here? You want to be stressed. As a motivator, sometimes you need a bit of stress on you to get you going. At least they were happier. But for many people, the original goal of getting people into work was flawed to begin with. If instead the aim were to make people generally happier, the scheme would be considered a triumph. One participant, former newspaper editor Thomas, I assume, pretty much summed this up when he told BBC News about how the basic income had affected him. I'm still without a job, he explained. I can't say that the basic income has changed a lot in my life. Psychologically, yes, but financially, not so much. Yeah, it's probably right. So what are the downsides to basic income? UBI is one of those rare issues that attracts equally strong support and criticism from all parts of the political spectrum. It is an interesting topic. For a lot of people on the left, UBI focuses too heavily on individuals' personal wealth and buying power, or rather their lack of it, without doing anything to stop companies wasting resources by producing far more stuff than people need and overworking their employees in the process. Oh, those damn Marxists, anti-capitalists. Economics writer Grace Blakely makes this point in The New Socialist, adding that without fundamental structural reforms to our economic system, UBI will only be a sticking plaster papering over those cracks. They really don't like the free market system. So let's have a look. 560 euros, 20 million cost to government. Okay. The unemployment rate is 8.1%. So the unemployment is actually pretty high there. Others worry that basic income will be used to cut costs by setting the rate too low and slashing other means-tested benefits. Meanwhile, many on the political right and centre worry about the exact opposite, that the UBI will be too expensive to implement and would encourage a something-for-nothing culture. Yeah, they've got a point there. Ulrich S., chief executive of ABB Engineering Company, echoed this sentiment in 2016 when he told the Financial Times that economic rewards for people should be based on actually creating economic value. Such a horrific right-wing attitude there, mate. Horrific. Why should people get rewarded for their effort? That's not fair. That's not equal. You know, someone who's sitting on their ass doing nothing should be getting just as much a reward. It wasn't real socialism. We'll do it right next time, I'm sure. So what's next? Researchers from Keller are now busy analysing all of their results, of course they are, to figure out what else, if anything, they could tell us about basic income's uses and shortcomings. Mr. S said that he doesn't like to think of these trials as having failed. Well, of course not, because that's his job. He's wasted years on it. From his point of view, this is not a failure or success. It is a fact and gives us new information that we did not have before this experiment. Well, you could have just read a bit of history and looked at the failure of every socialist civilization in history, maybe, you know, and the success of capitalist influences kind of pulling people out of poverty much faster than anyone else has ever anticipated. It's a shame they didn't actually measure the reduction in costs from managing this system compared to other systems. You know, that would be interesting. Maybe it cost us this much, but we didn't have to meet them every other week. You know, that isn't mentioned in this article. I'll have to make sure to add an alert for this to see when the report comes and to have a bit of a look, to read through it. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Do you think people will just be lazy bums? I wonder. Well, thank you all very much for joining me for this episode of Heiser Says. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ding the bell if you want to see more of my episodes and regular updates. Let me know what you think on this topic. You know, because I can see some benefits and I can see some disadvantages. You know, most people can appreciate why we need a social safety net for people. As a civilization has a certain level, we can afford the luxury of providing safe means of existence for people. Sure, you're going to get some people that will take advantage and abuse the system. That's the economic, you know, the loss, the dead weight of implementing any one of these programs. But how much are you willing to cop to ensure that, you know, people aren't going to starve or aren't going to commit crimes to feed their family? Aren't we, advanced now for it? But we'll see if this is a solution or if it's just another socialist pipe dream. Guys, thank you all very much. See you next time. Bye for now.